Hey everyone, just wanted to give you a quick heads up. The second Global Product Owner Summit is coming soon. You can get all the details at bit.ly/Product Owner 2024. That's bit.ly/Product Owner 2024. And it's all lowercase, all one word. Oh, and stick with us until the end of the episode to know the dates and the tracks that we have for you in this year's summit. But for now, let's dive into today's episode. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Team Tuesday this week with Freddie Brown. Hey, Freddie, welcome back.
Hey, how's it going?
All good, all good. So today we're going to talk about teams and how sometimes they become their own worst enemies. But before we dive into that, do share with us, Freddie, what was the book that most inspired you as a Scrum Master?
Yeah, I would say the book that most inspired me was a book called Whiteboard by Dr. Daren Martin. It speaks on models that inspire action. What's pretty cool about this book, it gives very simple explanations on how you can drive change within an organization. And I like illustrations as well, too. So roughly every other page has some sort of illustration that allow conversations to kind of flow when you have topics, how you can involve other team members when you're thinking about agility within the workplace. So it's pretty savvy on how they do that. Or should I say it's pretty savvy on how Dr. Daren Martin did that.
Absolutely. So if you think about that book, if you think back to that book and when you were reading it, is there some strategy, some technique that you learned from the book that you'd like to share with the audience?
Yeah, so there are a few. I'll start number one. There's an illustration and a quote that he has, and he said, try to get 1% better, right? 1% better over time will produce an exponential amount of improvement to what you do. Now, I even apply that to the work that I do. I have that conversation even within my family. Look for ways to get 1% better. It may be the way we even grocery shop, right? But going back to work, it also gives illustration on 1% or just 1 degree. 1% or 1 degree is the difference between, water and frozen ice. 1% or 1 degree is the difference between crashing or landing, between the difference between a bridge falling and a bridge standing, right? And so it says, look for the 1% in the work that you do that can inspire your change within your company. And I thought, as a Scrum Master, how can I deploy getting 1% or getting my team to get 1% better in some sort of strategy, whether it's the tools that we utilize, whether it's having more conversation with my team members to understand them. And so that 1% better quote that he had in there, 1% and 1 degree quote, really changed my perspective as a leader within the organization and the team.
Yeah, absolutely. And that aspect of the compounding effect is a quite important one. Small changes over time can lead to huge changes at the end of the year. So definitely something to find solace and, of course, therefore also justify taking action, as you said also in the beginning of your introduction to the book. Great recommendation. So, Freddie, of course, on Tuesdays, we also talk about teams and how sometimes they create their own problems. They start developing this way of acting and interacting that leads to sometimes conflict. Other times teams get dissolved because they stop working altogether. So tell us a story of a team that was getting themselves into trouble and walk us through the steps, like how those small little things, interactions, behaviors over time grew and created problems for the team.
Yeah, so I'll say really quick is that what I found a lot of times when I go through different engagements as a Scrum Master is that teams don't have clear line of delineation of their roles and responsibilities.
Can you tell us an example of what that means? Like, make it practical, something you've witnessed in a team that illustrates that idea.
Yeah, so you may have well, I'll give you an situation for myself is that I worked in a team once where the team ran kind of lean, if you will, where you may have a a QA operating as a Scrum Master or a QA operating as a PO. And so what would happen, and I'll give you this true life instance, is that I had an individual who said that they had this specific title of a QA, but they also wrote business requirements. They also wrote user stories. They also met with leaders to discuss our priorities. And so when it came to responsibility, the lines got blurred a lot of times on what this individual true role was within the organization. So what we had to do is craft out, because we didn't have this at the time, true lines of roles and responsibilities for everyone within this particular teams, so we can have and leverage what is called a RACI: who's responsible, who's accountable, who should be consulted, and who should be informed when it came to us doing our work activities. And so that helped tremendously when someone had a question related to a particular user story, or someone had questions related to a particular project, because the lines are no longer blurred when it came to this particular priority of work that needed to be done.
When you have questions about responsibilities, it's very important to have a dialogue, right? Like within the team, in order to get that shared understanding. And I was just wondering, usually people are reluctant to give up on something they might value as a responsibility. So how did you organize and facilitate the conversation in the team? Because building a RACI matrix is not necessarily easy if there are tensions and if there are expectations within the team regarding those roles and responsibilities.
Yeah, so what I did was, in that case, I remember that one of the cool things about being a Scrum Master and understanding agility is team empowerment. And so you empower the teams to make decisions, right? And take ownership of their own work and kind of hash it out. So I would set up these conversations, these touch points, weekly conversations. And what I really enjoyed is that leadership allowed these conversations to happen. They were very encouraging to have open dialogue and communication and collaboration to prevent this issue of role delineation, right? And so I had these touch points, these weekly touch points. What we end up identifying is that there were some cases where there were hybrid roles, right? Where it just needed to be in specific teams, but also where there were specific roles where, let's say, a PO needed to operate in the roles and responsibility of an industry standard over PO. And we've come to an agreement, and we found a healthy resolution on resolving the clear lines of what everyone role and responsibility.
So did you ask the team to kind of come up with their own way of handling the different roles? Like how did you start? Did you just list, okay, here are all the roles that we perform, and here are the people. Let's discuss how we map to these roles. Is that how you facilitated it?
Yeah. So what I did in facilitation, that's an excellent question too. What I did to facilitate this, I took a mural board, right? And I created 3 columns for the sake of this conversation. This is a QC. This is an SM, Scrum Master, product owner. And what I asked the team to do for 10 minutes is place stickies on each one of these columns, and within each one of these columns, these vertical columns, on what they believe the roles and responsibilities were. And at the end of the 10 minutes, we ran through them and then ideate and affinitize some of these stickies together. And I said, well, let's spend another 2 or 3 minutes just ensuring that we ran through there. Then after that, I said, let's have a discussion, time box the conversation for another 10 minutes, and said, hey, I want you to go through each one of these. And if you see a sticky that doesn't seem like it belongs in the column, change that sticky color, right? Doesn't matter whatever it is, just change the sticky color. So we spent 10 minutes, time box that. And then at the very end, we had a discussion with everyone for QC, for Scrum Master as well as product owner, and had that conversation, say, why do you not believe, or why do you believe this is the role of responsibility of said column, right? And that dialogue, encouraging that communication and collaboration, helps solve the issue of, why do I think that this person or this team role is responsible for this activity? From that, we were able to identify and define what the true roles and responsibilities were based on our particular business.
And for
but
that
also
team, exactly. And for that team, because there are no generic roles, there are roles that affect a specific team in a specific context and that need to be played, right? Like you said, the quality person, the product owner person, the Scrum Master person, whoever that is, or even if it is shared, but the responsibilities need to be agreed by the team. And I really like the idea of having the team come up with those responsibilities for each of the roles, because then they are committed to it, right? Like we don't have to sell them anything. They decided, and now, of course, they also hopefully take the responsibility of implementing what they decided on.
Absolutely. And it made it super easy. Going back to, like I said earlier, that RACI model is they understand who's responsible for what. And as the teams matured, so did some of the activities and some of the responsibilities matured along the way. And I thought that was super cool to do that exercise. And they thought it was super useful. And even then, they even said, hey, I even do this even at home for some of my activities. Hey, the kid is supposed to do, child A is supposed to do this and child B is supposed to do this. Well, why or why not? So it's cool to see that sometimes how your work transforms even work at home. So
yeah,
it was cool.
Absolutely.
It was super cool.
Thank you for sharing that story, Freddie.
Yes, sir. You're most welcome.
Hi there, Agile friends. Thank you for sticking around and listening to the details of the Product Owner Summit, this year's global summit dedicated to a critical Scrum role, the product owner role, of course. We'll have some amazing keynotes and 4 tracks filled with first-hand stories and experiences for product owners to learn more about that critical Scrum role. The summit will take place between April 23rd and 25th, so book your calendars. There will be loads of sessions for you to attend. One of the keynotes will be Dave West, the product owner and CEO at Scrum.org, one of the largest Scrum organizations in the world. If you want to know more, check out the details at bit.ly/product owner 2024. That's all one word, all lowercase, bit.ly/product owner 2024. We will also have 4 tracks. The 4 tracks will cover cross-functional product ownership. That's track 1. As Pixar's Ratatouille said, not every idea can be a great idea, but a great idea can come from anywhere. And this quote emphasizes the importance of a product owner being open to all ideas, regardless of the source, and also challenges us to focus on getting good ideas from everywhere and involving the whole team in the product owner role and responsibilities. The second track is Designing Products for Growth, where we explore how to craft products ready for scalable growth, merging practical strategies with innovation. The idea here is to learn to design products for growth, whether it is sales or customer acquisition. The third track is Know Your Users, user-centric approaches for Agile development. In this track, we learn to master user-centric techniques in Agile development, to deeply understand customer needs and transform insights into meaningful UX designs that focus on engagement and satisfaction. This is a track ideal for innovation-focused Agile teams. And the fourth track, one of the most exciting tracks in my opinion, is product development with AI, ideas for product owners. Not only do we discuss about using AI in the products, but also AI for product owners to learn to make a bigger impact with the help of the AI tools that we already have. The Product Owner Summit will also present to you great opportunities to network with your peers. So get your ticket and join our Slack. You can get the ticket and join the Slack at bit.ly/product owner 2024. As always, we have free tickets and also the paid tickets that help to support this podcast. So check them out at bit.ly/product owner 2024. That's all lowercase, all one word, product owner 2024. I'll see you in the summit floor.